Hey Groovers, welcome to Saturday. How are y'all doing? Luna here from More Confidence, here to keep sharing the love about how to self-love, about how to deal with the crazy emotions and voices that go on our heads, how to deal with negative thoughts, how to come into kind of union, sacred union within yourself. That's what I specialize in, and that's what I'm here for. And on today's live, I feel really compelled to share with you some thoughts and feelings that I had overnight. Yes, overnight, we're talking midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning last night. I was journaling and felt compelled to share, but going live on Facebook at 1 o'clock in the morning is probably not all that sensible. But I did do some journaling, so I thought I would share. Good morning, Leah. Lovely to see you, Dal. Welcome. So as I was saying, talking about feelings, talking about how feelings are teachers. Very often when we have feelings, when we have emotions, they become really overwhelming. For a lot of us, actually. And we don't want to feel them. You may have seen a video a little while back that I talked about, it said feelings suck, because very often they do. We don't want to feel the gross feelings. We don't want to feel uncomfortable, feeling resentful or jealous or anger or depressed. What was one? I had one. I'm just gonna refer to my journal here that I wrote last night. One of them was so uncomfortable for me. An emotion that I had last night. Spite. I had an emotion of spite last night that felt so uncomfortable for me, and I really want to highlight that just because we don't like our feelings doesn't mean they don't have anything to teach us. Think about when you were at school. Either that in primary school, high school, university, whatever it was, even in the subjects that you didn't like, even in the times where you were uncomfortable, even in those moments where you didn't understand what was going on, you were still being taught something. There were still lessons to be learnt from that. Just shout out, give me a bit of a type. What's your most uncomfortable emotion that you tend to deal with on a regular basis? What's the ones that you just are really unfamiliar with that come up quite often? They could be familiar as well. I know that for me, a few old friends that I have are ones around inadequacy, ones around abandonment, feelings around fear come up for me. They're pretty frequent emotions that I don't tend to like. And it's almost like going into subjects that aren't comfortable. So when I was at school, I was really good at English. And English was excellent. So I spent a lot of time doing English and I was very good at it. Clearly my language today isn't as effective as what it was back then. But I had to go into maths. I didn't like maths. It wasn't my strong point. I didn't enjoy maths. And so it was quite miserable for me. And I want you to kind of perceive your life as if the whole thing was a classroom. A whole thing was a school experience to which everything in your life was a lesson. Everything you were there to learn something or experience something. Now, sometimes at school, our lessons are just to go have fun, to play, to learn a new skill, to enjoy ourselves. We can still have our recesses and our lunch, and we can still go on camps and all that jazz. It doesn't mean that we're learning constantly at every single moment of every single day, although I think that we are anyway. But it just doesn't mean that you have to. It's not a prerequisite. You don't have to take everything so seriously. But our feelings specifically are there to teach us things. Our feelings, the emotions that come up in ourselves and our body, are there to show us or highlight us something. And when I say something, I'm being vague for a really good reason. And I want to share with you a process that I not only teach to my clients, but I use for myself. Actually, every single thing that I teach to my clients, I use for myself. I've either used it in the past and it's led me to where I am now, or I'm currently using it now. There's no, I live what I teach. There isn't this sense of I'm going to go do this thing, but I'm going to tell you to do this thing, but I don't do it. It's nonsense. This is lived experience. I've done it myself. I do it myself. I'm familiar with the process. I know how hard it is and I know how much it sucks. So I think the reality of that is that we can help one another by sharing our experiences. That's the thing, and for my clients and for the people who do follow me, I'm no better or worse. I just know some stuff about some things. And I say some stuff about some things because there's people, even my clients, know stuff about things that I don't know about. Nobody's better, nobody's worse along a journey. They just happen to have some kind of lived experience. And I want you to start to trust in that in yourself. You have lived experience. You know things. There's not somebody out there that knows everything about you. Well, there kind of is. It's you. You're the best person to know about you because you live with yourself 24/7. So, hey Joni, a question went out there of like, what are the most uncomfortable feelings that you have on a regular basis? And I was talking about some of them for me was, is around inadequacy. Like, it's so common for me to feel that level of inadequacy that now I've become really familiar with it. And I'm about to share a process with you all about how to actually deal with the feelings, not just have them, but how to process them, how to get the lesson out of each and every single one of those feelings. Leah shared sadness, grief, jealousy. Oh yeah, who feels a bit like, particularly jealousy for me, Leah? When you say the word jealousy, it triggers a whole bunch of stuff for me where I'm like, oh yeah, that feeling, the comparison. And actually, jealousy is on the list that I wrote last night. So for those of you who've just joined me, last night I had a big process where I had a lot of emotions come up, a lot of feelings, and at 1-2 o'clock in the morning I was there journaling, spending time with these feelings, and this is what's sparked me to come here today to share with you. So this process is so powerful because very often what happens when we have feelings, overwhelming feelings, is that they just fall on top of us and we get consumed within them. So we invest in the feelings. We feel like the feelings are the reality. So when we're having sadness, grief, jealousy, when we're feeling those feelings of anger or resentment, we think that that's what we are at that point in time. Whereas what's happening is that you're kind of just in a classroom. Like when you're at math class, you're just at maths. And in a moment, you're going to go to English and then you'll have lunch. When you're in those specific emotions that feel really uncomfortable, they're not forever, but they are there to teach you something. And if you ignore the feelings, then they compound. It's kind of like, again, if you go back to the school analogy, that if you continue to ignore your feelings, your homework is just going to pile up and you're going to lag behind. Yeah? So it's super important for us to actually address, like show up to the lesson. And we can know this, when the emotion's really heightened and you're really overwhelmed, just cry it out, yell it out, scream it out, do some movement practice, like breath movement sound. Get it out in a healthy way that's secure within your space. But then you need to have this, once the emotion, the intensity of the emotion has subsided, we need to learn the lesson. We've done the practical stuff of getting the emotion out, but very often the lessons are there to teach us something. Sorry, the feelings are there. I don't know if you can hear the rain. I'm in Sydney and it is pissing down, and it has been for days. It's quite beautiful. The healing of it is wonderful. You probably can't hear it. This process is really super powerful because it allows you to get to know you in a way that most of the time we avoid. So here's how it works. So I don't want to keep you any longer than you need to. So really, each of your feelings, and literally, you can see here that I've written like I feel, and then I've written what I felt in that moment and why. I've written what I feel and why. So I feel resentful. I'm not going to go into details of why because it's a specific, it's a personal topic in regards to other people, so I want to protect everybody there. But I felt resentful, desperate, ashamed, rejected, jealous, ashamed, angry, stupid, spiteful, inadequate, ridiculous, fearful, annoyed, resistant, rejection, resentful, judgment, anger. So literally what I've done here, so step number 1 is to list all the feelings that I was feeling at that point in time. And I sat with them. That took me a good 10-15 minutes to come out with that. And I just sat and I'm like, what am I feeling? What am I feeling? So sit with yourself and like feel, what am I feeling here? Do your best to articulate what it is that you're feeling and list them out. And the reasons why. I feel resentful because, I feel ashamed because, I feel the sadness, I feel grief, I feel jealousy because. Yes, so write those feelings out. That's the first step. And then what I want you to do from that point in time is one by one, it's going to take a little while depending on how many feelings you've got going, is have a conversation with those feelings. Yes, literally. And I did this process out loud while journaling. So 1 o'clock in the morning, and I start at the top of the list. I'm like, hello, resentment. And literally I want you to do this. This is the process. So step number 2, talk to the feelings out loud. Hello, resentment. And what I say to each of the feelings is, hello, add insert feeling here, resentment. I can hear you. Thank you for being here. I'm listening. What do you have to tell me? And literally wait. Close your eyes if you need to, hand on heart if you need to, and wait. And whatever comes up, whatever weird, wacky, wonderful first thoughts that come into your head or words that come out, write it down. Don't filter it. Don't try to think like, oh, well, that doesn't seem to make any sense. Just roll with it. I just want you to roll with it and see what comes up out of it. And before you close off on any one emotion and move on to the next one, I want you to make sure that it's done. So, is there anything else? Is there anything else? Is there anything that you need me to know? And if it says to you like, hey, I want more attention, which is what resentment is, I'm going to give you little snippets of what each of my emotions told me, so they may apply to you too. If they give you an action like I need more attention, ask them, what does that look like? Literally ask your feelings, what does it look like to get more attention from me? And then again, you wait, you hear, you listen, you feel into it. And whatever comes up into your head, trust that. Trust that there is a higher purpose for each and every single one of your emotions. They're not just out to get you. They're not out to want you to die or to hate on yourself. That's not the intention of your emotions. If that's the first thing that comes up, get curious and dig a little deeper. Okay, tell me more about that. Literally have a verbal conversation with yourself and take notes as you go along. I'm going to share with you this process of resentment. So what I've done, resentment's come up. And so I sit there and I say, hello, resentment. Thank you for being here. I hear you. I feel you. I want to know you. I want to get to know you. Please tell me, what is it that you need from me? What do you need me to know? I literally ask myself that question. And then I just let it pour out. And what's come up for me here with resentment is I need more attention. I need you to put me first. I need love. And I then ask the question like, how do you know that I love you? Needs to be shown love through attention. It says less TV and social media, more journaling and meditation, non-fiction books, and working towards my dreams and hopes. I'm feeling resentful about other people. And what I'm learning from that is that I need more attention. I need more attention from me, not from other people, not from outside circumstances. The resentment is teaching me that I need more attention on myself. A few other really interesting ones that came up, which I was very surprised about, that I'd like to share with you here, is about rejection. I was having really strong feelings about rejection. And, excuse me, what it said here was apology and ownership. Honor me, show up for me and the feelings, all of them. Don't hide from me, be assertive. Know that we're here for you. The emotion, this is the emotion talking to me. I was taking notes on its behalf. More self-value. People who reject you or have to fight, or if you have to fight for them, aren't good enough. Fight for me is what the rejection was saying to me. Don't wish people were different. And when you wish people were different, you're perpetuating the rejection of self. Let them go. And I can't even read my own handwriting here. Focus your energy on people who do want you, not on the people who don't. And that's what was coming through from rejection. I was feeling rejected and then I was rejecting myself. But when I actually paid attention to rejection, that's what came up. And I could go on. I literally went for pages and pages and pages on each and every single one of these emotions to understand what they were trying to say to me. And through this process of going through each and every single feeling, each and every single emotion and step, I learned so much more about myself. I learned intimacy with me because I spent time getting to understand my feelings rather than just going, ugh, they're gross, or even having a movement, or like feeling them overwhelming me. I paid them attention. I showed up to the class of life And I sat there with the emotions, as uncomfortable as some of them were. As I said, my most uncomfortable one, which I keep forgetting, which is hilarious, shows that there's still something around me not liking it, was spite. I really didn't like the feeling of spite. And it was hard for me to dig deep into that. It said, keep you safe. Keep you small. And I was like, I didn't understand, but what it was trying to teach me in the big thing, not to trust. It was teaching me that it didn't feel safe to love and to let people in. So I need to create more safety. That's what it was asking me. The spite in me was asking me to be careful and to not give away my love, give it freely, but also be aware and have boundaries and keep myself safe in that process. Our feelings are teachers. If we show up to the lessons that they're there, we will learn so much more about ourselves, about our life, about what's happening for us and what they're there to teach us. And it doesn't mean that they just go away because you've received the lesson. They come and go as constant teachers. We are human. That's why we have feelings. It's a very unique experience. Humans have a really big range of emotions, and very often in spiritual conversations we want to kind of like, oh, it's, it's spiritually evolved to not feel anger or sadness or low vibration. What a load of crap. Your mission here on earth is to be human, and to human is to feel. That's the point. If we can come together where we honor our feelings and honor what's happening in the process, we can come into wholeness once more by not rejecting and ignoring our human side, but by integrating that into our wholeness, into our spirit and our heart. That's really the point of our humans. That's the point of the lessons. That's the point of us being here, is to integrate our wholeness. Come back into where we actually are, and where we feel complete is internal. You're never going to get it externally, but you will get it by learning to love you, and you learn to love you by listening to you. I spent a long time being a really shit friend to myself, a really shit lover, a really shit person to me. And the process to self-love is to be attentive, to listen, and to connect deeply with who I am. And we do that through our feelings. Certainly one of the ways. Questions, feedback, I would love to hear from you. Thank you all for being on this journey with me. It's very, very close for those of you watching at home in regards to me popping out a baby in a very short period of time. So surely lots more lessons, because there'll be a lot of emotions coming through in that process. So big love to you all. Thank you for joining me here on this delightful Saturday. I wish you all the love and peace and harmony and listening and lessons, and just enjoy the ride. That's what we're here for. Big love to you. See ya.